Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Henderson City of Henderson Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, October 11th, 2022. Would you please gather and rise with us to do the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Pruitt.
Here.
Commissioner Staton is absent. Commissioner Thomas.
Here.
Commissioner Vowles.
Here.
Mayor Austin.
Here. Don't see anybody other than kind of the regulars that will want to bring something before the commission, and they'll be on the agenda. We go to the consent agenda, and we have one set of minutes and two resolutions.
We have the minutes of the December 28th, 2021 regular meeting. Resolution 36-22, resolution adopting and approving the execution of supplemental agreement number 3 between the City of Henderson and the Commonwealth of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet under the Federal Highway Administration for an additional amount of $164,379 for the utility phase of the Wathen Lane Upgrade Project. And Resolution 37-22, resolution approving supplemental agreement number 1 between the Commonwealth of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, Department of Highways, and the City of Henderson for the Kentucky 425 Henderson Bypass Turn Lanes Project, and authorizing the mayor to execute all necessary documents.
Is there any item that a commissioner would like to take off the consent agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Pruitt.
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles.
Aye.
Mayor Austin.
Next is second reading of an ordinance regarding assistant city manager position.
Ordinance number 29-22, ordinance amending Chapter 2 Administration regarding Assistant City Manager position, and ordinance amending Article 3 City Manager of Chapter 2 Administration of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Henderson by creating and adding Section 2-49 Assistant City Manager.
Is there a motion to approve second reading?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Pruitt.
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles.
Aye.
Mayor Austin.
Next is an ordinance amending the mobile food units, Parks and Recreation.
Ordinance amending Chapter 17 Parks and Recreation relating to mobile food unit vendors. Ordinance amending Chapter 17 Parks and Recreation, Article 4 Mobile Food Units, Section 17-66 Regulations of Mobile Food Unit Vendors of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Henderson to add the prohibition of the use of city water by mobile food unit vendors without the authorization of the City of Henderson or the utility.
Dawn, do you want to just mention about the water utilities policy on that?
Sure. Well, just like Hempel, AWU is restricted from benefiting a private business by giving them water, just like Hempel can't give a private business electricity. So we're updating this. We found that there was a mobile food truck that was using water. I don't think that they understood, and so we're making it clear. Also with this, we also remind mobile food trucks that they cannot put their grease into our municipal storm water system. That's actually in Chapter 23, but we also include it in this so that when mobile food truck owners are reviewing these, they understand that that's prohibited, and that's actually prohibited by state law as well. So.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments?
I've got a couple questions.
Okay.
Is there a way to get permission for that?
We do when we have festivals that benefit nonprofits, then that is through the permitting part of a special event. That's how we're able to do it for electricity and for water.
Go ahead. Is there any, let's just say a food truck wants to set up at the perch And I know there is a spigot there.
Yeah.
If they want to use that, is there like a fee they could pay, or is there a way that they could get access to that? It's just curious.
You could put a meter on it. We could, if they contacted us, we could contact HWU and they can come in and put a meter on, a temporary meter on it.
And what it looks like typically, most people that rent out meters have a fire hose connection
Mhm.
to do a garden hose. I'm sure they could adapt one,
Yep.
but typically the food vendor could go to the water utility direct and procure or secure that rental agreement.
So, yes, there is a way to do it, to answer your
Yeah.
question.
That seems, I guess, maybe a little more complicated than it should be, is my concern. I don't know if it's something we could ask the water utility to look at and try to
Yeah,
find
the
it.
other thing you could do is you could go down, I mean, if they carry their own tanks, they can go
Right.
down to the water, what is that called?
The water buddy.
The Water Buddy, and they can actually put money into, there's a place that you actually put money in and water comes out and you can fill up your tanks that way.
Well, it's
What's
a
in
big
Yeah.
tanks that
Yeah.
drops.
Uh-huh.
I think the real question would be, is we should ask, is there a way to do it at a yard hydrant?
Mhm.
Mhm.
The yard hydrants, usually you hook up a garden hose too.
Right, right.
And let us ask,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if HW could work in like just a flat fee of every time you hook up to this for a temporary basis or something, you pay. I don't know. Just something to think about. And then Commissioner Staten had a concern just of whether this was going to prohibit any food truck spots that we have now. I don't see how it would, but just wanted to throw that out there and make sure I'm not missing
No,
something.
They just had one that was using
Okay.
the water. Most of them, I think, have a tank. Most of the food trucks have a
Here's your
tank.
Now, this doesn't.
They get free water, I want free water.
Right,
On
yeah.
private property,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Right, no, this is, because private property, that water would be metered.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So, but in these situations, the water's not metered, and so they're getting it for free.
Okay. That's for me.
Anything else on that? Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Pruitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles.
Aye.
Mayor Austin.
Next, we have under bids and contracts, the purchase of a Ram 350 cab and chassis, 3500 cab and chassis, dually for the gas department.
Municipal order number 63-22, municipal order approving purchase of a 2022 Dodge Ram 3500 cab and chassis tradesman crew cab 4x2 dually for the Henderson Municipal Gas Department from Franklin Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Franklin, Tennessee, in the amount of $57,765.
Buzzy, before we get a motion on that, would you go through the process that has had to get that truck?
I'm going to give a brief upfront, and then I'm going to let Dawn Kelsey take the legal end of it. But our finance department attempted to obtain bids for a vehicle, and without response, we then turned to the state contract, and Robert helped me. When we went to the state, there was a window of opportunity that produced no further action, correct?
Right, it closed. All the bids, all the available vehicles were taken.
So it's almost like first come, first served. And that, if I remember correctly, that opportunity was a 6-hour window. And so, as y'all can see from that, we didn't have success. So then, Dawn Wynn and Tim Clayton with the cash department got with Dawn Kelsey, and Dawn, I'll let you take it from there.
Sure. As you all know, we're under model procurement, so we have to go through the process of either bidding or buying things at a contract price. And in this situation, both of those failed. There is a section that states if you've done all those things and you still cannot obtain what you're looking for, then you can go and make a non-competitive purchase. In this case, they looked everywhere and they found a cab and chassis in Franklin, Tennessee on a lot. These people didn't bid for it, but model procurement will allow in these situations for us to go ahead and make the approval to purchase that property. But only after we've tried to, and we've exhausted our other opportunities, and in this case, we have, so. Unfortunately, it's almost like we're in an emergency situation with vehicle purchases right now.
So we'll get a motion in a second, and if there's any other questions, we can deal with those. Is there a motion to approve, please?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions, or further questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Pruitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Valls,
Aye.
Mayor Austin.
Aye. Next, we have under the city manager's report, a update on the Fire Station 1.
We have Eric Chambers, and I hope he's on our Zoom invite. I'm not seeing him.
Yeah, I'm here.
Good,
Can you hear
thank
me?
you. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you for responding. With us today is Eric Chambers, Brandstetter Carroll of Lexington, Kentucky. And what we have asked him to present to the Board of Commission today is a presentation of the site development for Fire Station 1 to be located on the former IBT property. As y'all are aware, if you've driven by, half the building is on the ground. They're cleaning up. The other half will be brought down soon. With that being said, Dylan Ward, are you on as well?
I am.
Okay, so Dylan, do you have anything you want to add before Eric presents?
I know, sir.
Okay. All right, Eric, the floor is yours.
All right. See the screen sharing on my screen is the fire station site pulled up?
It is on ours.
Well,
That doesn't look right.
Doesn't look like it.
No. Hang on, Eric, we got the wrong photo.
That's all right.
Uh,
I was like, that's a different site than I'm used to seeing.
Well, I don't know what they did this year.
Well,
Where did it
here
go?
comes the brainchild.
Well, while he's pulling that up, I can go ahead and just kind of give an introduction. We've been working with the chief and Buzzy and Dylan over the last few months and weeks to review the property, discuss options for the fire station, getting a lot of the program elements together for the chief, but then also looking at it from a aesthetic and functional standpoint for Second Street and how that might work. So they're looking at the site plan concept. Essentially what we've done is we've oriented the building so it will be facing Second Street. We will have, you can see the bays are there on the left-hand side, where you can see the apparatus there depicting that. We have a large apron that will be able to exit out onto Second Street. And then you can see the parking in the front of the building off of Second Street is public parking where someone is coming there for maybe for a class, CPR class, or wanting to come there and have a blood pressure check, what have you. They have a place to pull in and park. They're not blocking the apparatus at all. And so they would have a place there at the front of the building. You see the areas in red kind of outline some of the perimeter of the property that we don't currently have developed, but do lend themselves to some additional parking or additional outbuildings future expansion for the fire department if needed, or for other city needs. And then on the back side or on the lower side of that site, you can see on the back side of the fire station there, we have access from the alley where you can come in, and there's staff parking or firefighter parking for as they come in on shift. They'll have access to the building, to the living areas. And then there's actually an access drive to First Street, which allows the fire department, as they come back from a run, they could come in and actually pull through the bays to pull back into the bays on a return for easy access. What it also does, as you'll see here in a second, by having those large aprons, it allows them to be able to exercise their vehicles, as they do cleaning, washing. There's also opportunity for training on the backside, which you'll see here in a second on the floor plan. So really trying to maximize the site as much as we can, give them adequate space for parking, training, those type of activities that they need to do as a fire department. If anybody has any questions on the site, feel free to ask them, or we can jump to the floor plan. I can go over that real quick and then answer any questions.
Any questions so far? Think we're ready to move on?
Okay. Flip back to the next. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. So what you see here essentially is the latest floor plan for the fire department, for the station. We've worked on a few different options with the chief, and these have kind of picked up his latest comments. But what you see there in the blue, that is the lobby or public entry from that public parking lot. They come in. There is access to a restroom, a office there that has access to the lobby to answer any questions or something that may come up. And then there is what we call a triage room, which really is just a room that if somebody needed a blood pressure check or wanted to speak to somebody, they have a place to do that in the lobby. They don't have to escort them through the living areas. The areas in green, specifically on the right-hand side, are the administration offices, staff offices for the chief, conference room, training assistant chiefs, and then we have the large training room there on the bottom right in green for various activities. From a training perspective, either classroom type training, they could have a CPR class in there for the community, so it allows them a varied amount of opportunity there. The areas in yellow, or maybe orange on your screen, those are the living areas for the fire department. So you have your bunk rooms, your dining, day room, kitchen, locker rooms, and the fitness room. And so those areas are contained there in the orange or yellow. And then the red is what we call that the hot side or the dirty side, which is where the apparatus bays are, where the gear is maintained. And then we also have a tower for hose drying, but then also it allows for training for the fire department. Besides just hose drying, it allows them to use that as a multifunctional space. Then we have some miscellaneous spaces there for tools and a restroom on that side, and then also the breathing apparatus machine so they can refill their air containers. And then a little box, the red box you see down there underneath the apparatus, that sits over top of the gear room. And basically, because of the height of the bays needed for the vehicles, it allows us to work in a mezzanine area, which allows for additional storage for the fire department, and also, again, allows for some training where they can throw ladders and do some of that training on the inside of the building as well. So that pretty much is what we've got shown there. If you got any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions? Buzzy, anything you want to add?
Eric, the safe room, it would be located exactly where?
So we're talking the storm shelter area. We've talked about really there's two areas you could do that fairly easily. Right now, my anticipation would be we do that in the locker rooms, which is down on that lower left-hand corner that you can see there in the orange or the yellow, depending on your screen. And so that area would, because of the restroom, we have to have restrooms in that area for the storm shelter, so that area would provide itself adequate space for that to accommodate those needs.
Okay, Marie, my second point of reference, if you go back to the site plan, if you notice in the red to the left of the apparatus bay is the lot that the Answer Center sits on. And y'all are aware that the Answer Center is currently moving to their new location on Green River Road. As you can see, the apparatus bay really encroaches in on the Answer Center property. And we have been discussing with Eric, Dylan, Scott, myself, we're going to recommend as part of the project is to bring the Answer Center down. Along with, there's a fairly large masonry garage in the back. It's 2-story. We have been through the structure recently, and I will tell you the main house is not in good shape from a masonry standpoint, and the block building in the back has some exterior wall cracks that it appears to me to be due to settlement. But it will be our recommendation to bring that building and garage down as part of the project, and we'll come back with you with more information in the near future on that. So those are my only two comments. Scott, do you have anything you would like to provide to the commission before we move forward?
I just want to know, when they come out on Second, as the trucks leave now, are we going to have trouble, Scott, getting out on Second? Is that going to be a problem or not?
I don't think it'll be a problem, though.
About like what we got up here now, coming out? on
Right,
Green?
no. Right now, it's, I mean, being a major intersection, right there, it's spaced enough. I mean, there's enough lanes and enough spacing that we'll be able to get out pretty easy there. There's, like, the only concern I would have would be like during church time and maybe school or a wedding or something like that. But even then, it's as wide as Second Street is there, it's not going to be a problem because, you know, we could always take the negative right away if we had to. And the other thing we could always look at doing is some type of traffic control signal. I don't know if is that state highway?
It is, and we will request that as
Right,
part
but that's
of the
something
project.
else you can do. You could actually do like stop lights or even flashing lights that can, you know, stop traffic in a different direction that would allow us to have access to, you know, Second Street a little bit easier. But I don't anticipate any type of problem. Nothing like what we have now at Station 1 or even like Station 4 being on Green Street. The traffic, and even Station 3 exiting out, you know, from Starlight onto 60, the traffic moves so fast there on Second Street in that, you know, exact areas. They're not going to be moving very fast. So access should be all right.
And then there's also access onto First Street?
There'll be access back to the fire station off of First Street, but the way the fire station's situated, the trucks will have to point towards Second Street.
Okay.
So now there may be like a battalion chief or something like that will be going out
Yeah.
the back way, which they'll have access to Adams or to First Street. So.
All right. Other questions or comments?
Dylan, do you have anything you want to add?
No, sir. Thank you, Scott and Eric, for your presentation.
Okay.
Mayor, what we're looking for today is concurrence from the board to move ahead with this conceptual phase of the project. And Eric, correct me if I'm right or wrong, but one of our next milestones will be to take the conceptual design a little bit further into to schematic design, and that at that point is when we will go out and secure a cost estimate at that level of design.
That is correct.
Is the commission
Yeah.
okay with moving forward?
Yeah.
Okay. We're all right, buddy.
Eric, you have concurrence from our board, Dylan, and so we'll move on with the project as proposed today.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Okay.
Eric.
Thanks.
Dylan,
No problem. We'll be in contact shortly.
thank you.
Okay. That ends our regular agenda, and we'll go to commission reports. Commissioner?
Forget that rezoning.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, we got one other thing.
One other item, and this is a typical, when we have a rezoning request, y'all are aware we have a 21-day rule to hear any objections to this rezoning. So this rezoning relates to St. Anthony's Hospice on US 60 West. And Dawn, I believe that there's some acquisition of the existing property adjacent to it.
Yes, and so it is zone R2 currently, and they're asking for it to become city agricultural, which is what they currently have out there. So, and they had a full public hearing at the last planning commission and recommended that.
It's okay. If anyone wants to challenge that, they have 21 days to do it, the rezoning.
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners report. Commissioner Vowles, anything today?
Nothing today?
Commissioner Pruitt, anything? Commissioner Thomas, anything? Okay. I have one appointment that I would like to bring before the commission, and that is for the Code Enforcement Board, and the appointment is for John Stroud for the unexpired term of Matt Calvert, which expires 6/30/2024. Is there a motion to approve, please?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Pruitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles,
Aye.
Mayor Austin.
And we have reasons to go into executive session. Is there a motion, please?
I move the commission go into executive session for the purpose of deliberation on the possible purchase of property located in the vicinity of North Water Street, Fifth Street, and Elm Street, and the possible sale of property on South Green Street and Borax Drive pursuant to KRS 61.810, paragraph 1, subsection B, and for the purpose of economic development and the siting of a project pursuant to KRS 61.810, paragraph 1, subsection G.
Is there a second, please?
Second?
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
We are in executive.